How heavy is that? Light work with the bass on the track, on my face to the back like I'm taking a slap. I need a drink, but it's straight from the tap. And I'm hating the slack, couple miles like
Good YouTube, it's your boy TSG, that soccer guy. Welcome back to a Premier League match preview for West Ham versus Chelsea. In this video, I'm going to be giving you my starting lineup as well as my score predictions. With that being said, let's get straight into it. So look guys, going into this game, I'm going in building this prediction strictly before seeing a press conference from Thomas Tuchel, because it just isn't out at the time of me making this video. So I'm going based off of what we know from last game and what I'm making an assumption of going into this game as far as the starting lineup, who I think needs to play and who I think should play, considering who we know is injured and who we know may or may not be injured. So without further ado, let's get straight into building that team. So straight into the goalkeeper spot, we have Edouard Mendy. Edouard Mendy, after his great performance against Watford, being the player that really kept us in that match because they could have scored many goals in the first half. He's going to keep his starting position. I don't think Mendy can have a bad game. It's not in his locker. He's one of those players that always shows up, always performs, and puts in a good shift, and will forever, I think, keep his spot in the team unless he's injured. And I hope he doesn't get injured in this window with all the stuff going on right now, but I think he'll be good. He's going to continue to lead for us and do great things at the back. So Mendy is the goalkeeper I picked for this game. As far as my back three is looking like this. I'm going with Rudiger, Thiago Silva, and Andres Christensen. Rudiger, obviously, he didn't have the greatest last game, but everybody has their mistakes sometimes, and in this game, he's going to be needed. There's nobody that can play that left center back spot like him, and he has to start this game. Same thing for Thiago Silva. He came in and really helped us in that second half against Watford, showing that we really need somebody of his quality in the team as long as he's fit. And I do believe he didn't have any problems in that game, so he should be starting in the middle. As far as the right center back, we're going with Andres Christensen. Didn't have the greatest game, but with Chalobah potentially being injured and his tweet that he put out, which makes it seem like he is going to be out for a little while, I would say that Andres Christensen is going to slot into that right center back slot. As far as the midfield, it's basically a complete change of midfield for me, and that looks exactly like this. I am saying that we need to put, unfortunately for Hudson-Odoi, he's playing really good at that left wing spot, but he has to play left wing back in this game. Alonso has not been good enough. Callum Hudson-Odoi will do a better job than him. His attack is very good, and I think Thomas Tuchel will probably have been training him since the last couple games in playing this position, because he's played right wing back before. I think he can definitely do the job at left wing back, and Thomas Tuchel has probably trained him in this at certain points in the season, so that if he is needed and called upon, he can do a job there. I think he will be better than Alonso, and we cannot play Alonso in another game, so Callum must start for me. Ruben Loftus-Cheek kind of keeps his place in the team. One of the players that wasn't that great, but we don't really have any other options as far as a midfielder to go in here right now, especially not knowing whether Kovacic and Conte are back yet. So he's going to slot in there. Jorginho, he was doubtful for the last game, and so was Reece James, but I'm assuming that Thomas Tuchel, with them being doubtful, not 100% ruled out, he kept them out, and plus Jorginho was on the bench, so if he was needed, he could have played in the last game. I think he will be back in for this game. I think he's going to come in. Thomas Tuchel gave him that time off so that he's going to be able to play the next game and not worry about an injury. We need somebody like that against West Ham with a midfield of Thomas Tuchel and Declan Rice. And of course, Reece James was also doubtful, and he wasn't even on the bench for the last one. I think we were playing really conservatively and keeping those two out of the team to keep them safe from further injury and make sure that they're here for this game. It's going to be a lot harder than the Watford game, probably, and we need two players like this that are going to be able to play in the midfield and be a completely different midfield and show what we're actually about in the midfield area. As far as the forward line for me is looking like this. I think with Pulisic and Mason Mount right now, you can't replace them. Callum Hudson-Odoi could play up there, but like I said, he's going to be in the left wing position. Ziyech could start over Pulisic. I could definitely see that happening. I think Mason Mount has to keep his spot after the last game. He's very good. Pulisic might get taken out, but I think him and Lukaku could link up really nice, which is why I put them in there together. I don't think they've played together so far this season, so those two playing together I think would be really good, and I definitely want to see that. So this is the game. I think we should test that out. Somebody big like Lukaku who's able to pick up the ball, turn on defenders, kind of bully players a lot with how physical he is, and somebody with the pace of Pulisic that could probably use Lukaku as a dummy and try to dribble in and take on the defenders like he usually does. I think this is a strong formation for us. I think this is the starting 11 that should be used. I don't know if it's going to be exactly the same because, like I said, we don't know 100% how Jorginho and Reece James are doing, so they could definitely be out of this team. And the same thing for Pulisic. Pulisic didn't have the greatest game last game, so Ziyech could come in. Either way, I think Lukaku should start up front. Kai Havertz had a solid game, but I want to see Lukaku in there for a full, or at least starting the game. Maybe he can't complete a full 90 minutes yet. Maybe Thomas Tuchel wants to be kind of conservative and use him a little bit and take him out maybe around the 65th minute if he's getting a little leggy, because of course he just came back from a serious injury, and we need to keep him healthy. So Thomas Tuchel's going to be really careful about who he's playing in a time like this. So hopefully we can get the best out of Lukaku in tomorrow's game. Hopefully we can get the best out of most of the players on the pitch. This is a game where we're going to have to be really good. Mikel Antonio is good for them. Souček, Jared Bowen is good for them. Declan Rice. They have a solid team, and Kurt Zouma is going to be coming back to the bridge. I'm sure, or well, actually, it's going to be at London Stadium, but Zuma is going to be back to play the team for the first time since he's left, and I'm sure he's going to want to do what he can to keep a clean sheet against us and show that we shouldn't have sold him. So looking at the subs for this game, the subs bench looks like that. A lot of players that were in this game that had to get dropped: Alonso, Saul, Asp, Ziyech played good. He could, like I said, be in there. Kai Havertz again played good. Ross Barkley could come into the game. Timo Werner can cause problems off the bench. But we don't know what the bench is going to look like. It's kind of a shot in the air to make a video this early, but doing it just strictly on the fact that it's the day before, nothing has come out yet. It might not come out until the morning of the match, and I don't want to wait that long and risk it not coming out and then me not having anything to put out for you guys. So I'm going to put out the video like this. I think the score it's probably going to be a close one. I think with us not being at full 100% strength, there's going to be points in the game where we probably do struggle, especially the way we struggled against Watford, especially if Jorginho and Reece James aren't back. We're going to have to find a way to make that midfield work, because the players in the last one, if they play, this is a recipe for disaster for us. I think our best bet is hoping on certain players being back. Maybe even N'Golo Kante is back for this one. We won't know. He was going to be out for a week, so he could potentially be back. We never really had a timeline on Kovacic coming back. Obviously, we know Ben Chilwell is going to be out. So this could be a completely different lineup than what I predicted. As far as scoreline, this is one of those cagey affairs where it's going to be tough regardless. They're going to come game. They just tied with Brighton, who has also been a very good team this season. I think this is going to end up being a 3-2 or a 3-1 Chelsea win. I'm not going to say we're going to lose a game. I'm never going to back us to lose. I don't think we can get beaten by most teams in this league this season. So with that being said, 3-1, 3-2, one of those two score lines. I'd say Mason Mount is going to score again. He's on form. If Reece James comes back in, he's going to score. And then we're either going to see a goal from Pulisic or Lukaku. That's what I'm predicting. Maybe even a penalty from Jorginho. This is one of those games where you can see a lot of fouls happening, a lot of physical players. So maybe something happens where we get a penalty. Jorginho puts that away for us. Overall, I think it's going to be a good game. We need a strong performance tomorrow to stay at the top of the league. We got to keep pushing on in times like this where our team isn't going to be at 100% strength, but we still got to show our qualities, and we got to show we're the best team by showing that even if we don't have our best players in, we can still do a job and still get the job done against these big teams. That's what puts us aside from all these other teams in Europe and makes us the champions of Europe and makes us the team that we are. We need a promising performance tomorrow, and I think we're going to have it. That's all from me for this one. If you guys enjoyed, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for my review of the West Ham-Chelsea match. And with that being said, it's been your boy, TSG, that soccer guy. Sign.
How heavy is that? Light work with the pace on the track, on my face in the back like I'm taking a slap. I need a drink, but it's straight from the tap. And I'm hating the slack, couple miles.